You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt McGachy, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Kelly Schaefer of Atheist. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers!
Hello! Welcome back to the show. Well, welcome to the show if it's your first time. I always say welcome back because I'm always coming back. It's not my first time. But, I'm here, and that's what matters, I suppose. I just wanted to bring something up because the impending Black Friday holiday is upon us. A few people messaged me last week. They were trying to use the tonemob.com/reverb link about, I guess it was just a couple days ago, about the time all those blacked out pedals came out. And they got a notice that said, hey, someone is trying to steal your information. Don't use this link. And I thought it was a problem on my end. So I dug into my website trying to figure out why it was doing that. Turns out it wasn't my link that was the problem. It was theirs. So it still works. If you're not comfortable using it while that message pops up, I totally understand. But just know that it still does work and everything's fine and no one's trying to steal any of your information. But they're working on it and they will be back to me with an update whenever that's fixed. But in the meantime, if you still want to use that link to help support the show, you just have to click through that says, yes, I still want to go to that website. It's just me and Reverb. Those are the only ones involved here. And so once they get that fixed, it should all go away. Maybe even by the time you hear this message, it might already be fixed. So fingers crossed for that because Black Friday is nearly upon us. And I know there's going to be some smoking deals over there. And if you could be so kind to use that link, tonemob.com/reverb, that will help keep this show humming along and it won't cost you anything extra or anything like that. So, yes, that's enough of that nonsense for now. I just want to put in one more reminder about the Facebook group. Some people have been listening to this show for years, don't realize that there is a Facebook group attached to it. There's a couple thousand of us in there nerding out about food, gear, and basically anything else that comes up on this podcast. So it's a good time and it's a real positive place. We work really hard to keep it that way. So if you're a negative Nancy, I guess stay out. We don't want you there anyway. Anyway, my guest today is Bob Bruno from the band Best Coast. He's got a really interesting story. He's done a lot of really cool things, and he has just a really cool attitude about it. He's just such a awesome dude, and I won't get into revealing any of that because you're about to listen to a podcast with him. So, without further ado, here is Bob Bruno from Best Coast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar tone and the people behind it. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Bob Bruno from Best Coast. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Just sitting here with my cat.
Oh, what's your cat's name?
His name is Little Dude.
That is phenomenal. He's not very little.
No, he's like almost 20 pounds.
Oh, a 20-pound cat?
Yeah. I just put him on a diet because he got a little too big.
What are you feeding that thing?
Just regular cat food. I think I was just giving him a little too much, so I scaled it back.
Are cats like goldfish and they'll just eat until they die? Is that how that works?
This one definitely would. I've had other cats that aren't like that, but this guy, that's all he wants to do is eat.
I like this cat. I think him and I would get along really well. Seems like
he likes people.
And he likes
He's
food.
Very friendly.
He likes food.
Yeah.
That's what's more important.
Yeah. I think that's why we relate so much, him and I.
I think that is entirely why Mr. Ryan Ratajski from Fuzzrocious hooked us up, because he knew that both of us were fans of the edible, edible things. We like our foods. Maybe we can get into that later. And in fact, I'm almost I almost guarantee we're going to get into that, but which is perfect. But I guess we should start from the top and maybe introduce yourself for any of the listeners who aren't familiar, and we can go through your musical backstory and how that led to where you are today, and then we can get into the gear and whatever other kind of nonsense comes up.
Cool. So my name's Bob Bruno. I play guitar in the band Best Coast. On the records, I play guitar and bass, a little bit of keyboards and stuff. And we've been a band for like 10 years now, which is pretty crazy because it was just something we started in my bedroom with like zero aspirations to do anything. We just made a bunch of songs and they got put online and people really responded to them. And so we just have finished making our 4th full-length record. And that'll be out next year.
Cool. Well, so let's talk about the band a little bit. Like, I mean, I know a lot of the listeners have heard you guys, but I know a lot of them haven't. So what kind of style is it? How would you describe it?
Initially, when we started, we kind of got lumped in with like the lo-fi kind of like bedroom rock category, which was totally valid. We were just recording in my bedroom, just kind of blown out, distorted pop songs. And then, I don't know, we've just been progressing and now it's like a bit more rock and not lo-fi production. Like pretty much the early singles and the first records were the only, first record actually, were the only ones that you could call lo-fi. The second one we did at Capitol Studios with John Bryan.
That's hard to be lo-fi.
Yeah. Who's like one of my favorite producers and musicians. And it was funny, in my Facebook memories today, there's a post I did 8 years ago when we were making that record, and it was the day that Paul McCartney stopped by in the studio, which was just like mind-blowing.
What?
Like I couldn't even talk really because he was in the studio next door working on something, and they brought him into our studio to John had a piece of gear that he had gotten from Abbey Road, I think, and they wanted to show it to Paul, and he came in and was super nice and was just immediately he's like, oh yeah, I remember that thing, we would do this and this, back when we were making, I forget whatever record he referenced, because I was just kind of in awe. And so yeah, that happened 8 years ago today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, something I won't forget ever.
Was he like, I've never been that close to somebody on that level. Did he have like security and stuff, or is he just kind of chilling? How does that work when you're Paul McCartney?
No, it was just him, and he was working with Al Schmidt, who has a place at Capitol, and they just came in, and I would see him in the hall. Like the next day, I saw him in the hallway, and he's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." But yeah, he was super nice, and yeah, didn't have a huge entourage or anything.
That's crazy. That had to have felt like, the closest thing I can relate that to, which is not close really at all, is the first time I saw Jack White live. He was somebody that like I'd seen on TV and seen, in various capacities my whole life, but like actually seeing him like, oh, he is a real person. He's not like some comic book superhero. And I feel like Paul would be even, like I would be like, I don't even know if I'm awake right now. Am I alive? Am I talking to Paul McCartney right now? Like,
yeah,
it almost dreamy.
Crazy. Yeah. And then I think it was the next day I pulled up, and in the Capitol lot, they put these little signs with your name on them where your parking spot is.
Okay.
And the one next to my spot just said S Wonder. And I was like, oh, wow. But I didn't get to see Stevie, but he was in the studio next door with Paul working on some duet, or maybe it was a Christmas record or something. I don't remember what they were doing.
Wow.
But just even know that he was in the building was like, I kept hoping I would see him that day.
Just keep looking around.
Yeah.
Bob, you're supposed to be recording guitar. Yeah, but I'm trying to find Stevie. Just hold on.
Yeah. We're all like hoping to see Stevie. Yeah, but we
that's
did
incredible.
not. So yeah, sorry for the sidetrack there.
Oh no, not at all. No, this is what podcasting's all about, is the side tracking. That's totally fun. Carry on.
Yeah, we've just made a bunch of records, toured a lot. This has actually been the longest break we've had since we've been a band, which is like two years where we haven't done, a long tour. So we're starting back up end of February 2020. So I can't wait.
Nice. It's like you've got the itch. Then you're ready to rock and roll, ready to go.
Oh yeah, I love touring. So it's been a drag not being able to do it, but I also love being in the studio. So it's all good.
Yeah, I've never toured, and I never really wanted to tour, but it's weird how different people kind of process that whole experience. Some people just absolutely love it, and some people hate it so much. I think I could see myself falling into the hate it category real quick, but I don't really know. What are some of the things you like about touring?
Well, number one is just getting to play like almost every night is the best part. And then, when you've done it as long as I have, in a lot of cities, you have like favorite food places you want to go to, or record stores, or, music shops, and also friends in cities. And that's like your one time you get to see them every year. Or, if you're lucky, you might see them twice in a year. The drags, just missing my cat really. And I cook at home a lot, so I definitely miss that when I'm on tour.
Oh yeah.
Because that's pretty much I cook a ton of food like every other week. So
we're gonna.
And it's like really.
I know what the last half of this podcast is going to be about. This is going to be awesome. Ryan was right. So kind of, I know you compressed a lot of that into sort of a short and sweet time span there. But one thing, since we're talking about gear and whatnot, how has your gear changed over the years? Obviously, you started out in the bedroom, ended up in Capitol. There's got to be some pretty significant changes, I would imagine, from those early days.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much since I had my first real job, I just started buying gear, and that was like kind of early 90s, I guess. There were some cool shops around town where you could buy used stuff, and it was slightly before the first like vintage craze happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a while, like all that stuff became kind of unaffordable. But I always just gravitated towards just like weird pedals that nobody wanted and that were very affordable for me. Or the same with audio equipment or any kind of instruments and stuff. And I've been doing that, ever since. So there's a lot of gear. As far as things that changed, I have a lot more guitars now. Once we started touring and making money and stuff, I think when Best Coast started, I had maybe like I had like 2 or 3 basses and then like maybe 4 guitars. And now, I don't know. It's hard to keep track of how many
I know
things
the feeling.
I have, but it's a lot. But yeah, mostly just more pedals, some cool pieces of outboard gear that I've always wanted, and a couple nice microphones. Like nothing too crazy, but when you're not making any money, like any one piece of gear just seems like something you're working several months to attain.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So then when you get like your first big check or whatever, you kind of go nuts and buy, it's a lot of like wish fulfillment stuff.
I've wanted this for so long. I need
Yeah,
every
yeah.
Big Muff variant. Why do you need that? Because I do. Just shut your mouth. I just do.
Yeah. For me, it was like, I want like the Ibanez, whatever, the tone locks. I've
Yeah.
been collecting those. Like,
I love that series so much. I love the Tone Lock
yeah,
series. The DE7
very
is one of
underrated.
my favorite delays ever. I love the
Yeah,
DE7.
that one I don't have, but I know it's great. I almost bought one a couple weeks ago, but I did not. If it's still there, I'll be back in Seattle, then I'll probably get it. But I did just get the bass synth one.
Oh, I don't have that yet. How is that one? Is it pretty cool?
It's cool. Like like most bass synthesizer pedals, it seems to sound way better on guitar than bass. Which that's how the Boss one is, the Digitech one, and also this Ibanez one. Like it's almost useless to me when I'm running a bass through it, but on a guitar, it's rad.
Nice. What's your favorite 7 series that you have at the moment?
Surprisingly, I would say right now it's the Smashbox. Is that the name of
Dude,
it?
yeah, the Smashbox is a awesome distortion. It's so good.
We ended up using that one a lot on this record, which was surprising because I hadn't really used it a ton before that. But I know we used that one, and we used the lo-fi on one little overdub thing that I wrote. And that one's pretty useful too. Just like that one you can use on any instrument, and it's cool.
What does it do exactly?
Smashbox.
Yeah, the
It's
lo-fi.
kind of just like an EQ, I guess. It adds a little dirt, and you can thin stuff out.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
yeah.
So
but it has a switch for drums and guitar and I think vocals. So
okay,
they
I need
had
to look
that in
into that
mind.
one.
Like, yeah, it's a good one.
One of the things we were talking about yesterday before we were recording is your project for this week was possibly going to be assembling a pedal board for the upcoming tour. Do you have an idea what that's going to look like?
Yeah, so I went through the record again yesterday and took a bunch of notes as far as things I'd have to change on my existing board to accommodate the new songs. And so the biggest change is going to be using the Boss switcher with the built-in effects. I think it's the MS3.
Yeah.
That came out a couple years ago. So I'm going to be using both modes of that, like stop box mode for most of my modulation sources, and then a couple of the preset things that I'll write for multi-effects kind of stuff. I don't know how much I'll do as far as using the effects loop portion of it, but it's cool because it's basically replacing a whole row of pedals on my board. So, which is nice because then I can add other things.
Add more pedals in later.
Yeah. more fuzz pedals and a couple delays. And I've started to figure some of that stuff out too. The delays is going to be the trickiest one.
How so?
Well, so there's one song where I use the Boss version of the Space Echo. And it has that, when you hold the pedal down, it does the fake like tape oscillation thing. And it's a very specific sound. But I used to use that pedal live, but I hate the input stage thing on it, the input knob that you can drive. Like, I wish there was a way to bypass that. Because it's always just getting blown out by when, as soon as you turn on a distortion or something.
Yeah.
So I started researching other pedals that can do that. So I'll probably use the Earthquake or Avalanche Run, or maybe try the brand new Boss DD8 that has that same effect in it. But I think to do that, you might need an external foot switch. So I don't know. The Avalanche Run will probably be the one.
The Avalanche Run is a magnificent pedal, so that is it's a good choice.
It's so good.
Anything EQD is hard. It's hard to go wrong with those people over there. They're amazing.
Oh yeah, they make a lot of awesome stuff. I've been using the Swiss things a lot on my baseboard, which saves a lot of tap dancing.
How do you have that set up?
So I have all my dirt pedals on the first loop. So there's a MXR bass octave fuzz and a Earthquake or Westwood, and then on the other loop I have the Electro-Harmonix Mellotron pedal and the organ one, and then I'm using the Keeley, I think it's the Caverns, the delay reverb thing.
Yeah.
So those keyboard pedals kind of need some kind of effect on them. So that's in the second loop. So I can have both those come on at the same time with just one switch.
Cool.
Yeah, and then running out to a couple other pedals from there.
One of the things I did. Well, we should save that. That's food. I posted in the Tone Mob Facebook group. A few people had some questions for you.
Okay.
I didn't, of course, because I'm a jerk. I did it like 2 minutes before we were going to record, so there's not that much opportunity for people to respond. But one thing I actually don't know what this guy's referring to, so this might open up a good line of questioning. Sean Bohannon wants to know. He says, "Ask about the rare Ibanez bass." So
okay.
He has a few other things, but since we're still in the gear section, I want to know what the rare Ibanez bass is.
So the rare Ibanez bass is, I don't even know what the model name of is, but if you know that artist series they did with the kind of fancy like inlays and designs.
Yeah.
So this bass is kind of like a hybrid between like a Gibson like EB and a Rickenbacker. So it's got those kind of pickups, like a big one and then like a Rick style. Really cool inlays. It has star dots on the frets, and it has a crazy built-in distortion that you can switch on. And also at the bridge, it has these felts that you can raise and lower there's one for the low strings and one for the high strings. And it weighs a ton. It's probably the heaviest bass I own. I tried playing it live for a couple shows, and I didn't want to buy one of those straps that has the shoulder pad in it. So I ended up, I moved on I got a Gibson Ripper, which has been phenomenal.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a weird eBay find, and I think I paid, it wasn't a ton of money. It was like maybe $700 or something for this bass, because I was obsessed with Ibanez lawsuit era stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So that bass came up in that saved search, and I bought it, and I haven't seen one for sale since. And I tried researching it online, and I think I only found 2 other people that had it. I think one guy posted a YouTube video of him playing it. But yeah, there's not a lot of info that I could find on it.
Do you know, is this from like the lawsuit era? Is this from the 70s or about how old do you have any idea?
I think it's late 70s, or
So
it could be even very early 80s. Like, I'll send you a photo after this and you can check it out.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's rad. It's looks really cool and sounds really good.
Awesome. Moving on from there, what's the amp journey been like? Where'd you start, and where are you with guitar and bass amps these days?
Well, Best Coast Live, I use early 80s Mesa Boogie 2. It's the one with the like rattan grill, and it's wood grain, and it's a
Oh, yes.
115, which is perfect because there's a lot of baritone guitar in Best Coast on the early stuff. So it's great for having a baritone guitar, and it just any guitar sounds great through it. When I'm picking amps, I just want something that's clean because everything's coming from the pedals.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want something that's going to break up really easy, and that's why I love Mesa Boogie stuff. Is for backline, I'll usually use a Boogie Lone Star, and Beth, our other guitar player, she uses that too.
The Lone
And,
Star. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Bass amps, I have a 80s Carvin head that I use a lot. It's a solid state, has 2 channels, has graphic and parametric EQ, which is nice, and built-in compression and distortion, which I don't really use, but it's a tank. Like, it's the first bass head I ever bought, and it still is working great. And that I've had it for, I think I got it in like 98 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm in the market for a bass amp at the moment too. I just took home a P bass yesterday from my buddy Leon's studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really funny bass, and I'm probably gonna. It's not funny. It's a totally normal like Fender P bass, like Mexican P bass. But why it's funny to me is because it's been in his studio for like 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in and out of that studio for longer than that. But it's like it's funny to me because we have no idea who it belongs to, and and we've asked. It's not like a pro studio where there's going to be hundreds of clients in and out. It's just like a handful of local people. And we've asked everyone who's ever recorded there, basically, as far as I'm aware, who it might have belonged to, and everyone's like, nope, not mine.
Wow.
I actually think it's belongs to one of those guys, and they just forgot about it because they don't play because they don't play anymore. But but I was like, I need a bass. He's like, just come get this thing. And now I'm sitting here looking at it while we're recording, and you're talking about bass amps. It's like right in front of my face. And so I'm like, all this bass amp talk is starting to get my gear acquisition syndrome flared up again. I'm not sure what I need for it, but you had me interested in that Carvin. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it is great. Trying to think what other things I have. I have a Sun Beta bass.
There you go. That's my business right there.
It's awesome. I have a really funny solid state flip top Ampeg.
I didn't know they did that.
I didn't either. It was a random Guitar Center used find. But yeah, I actually used that. We did a TV show thing a couple months ago where we were like the house band on this fake talk show, and that's what I used for it, and it sounded surprisingly good.
Is that like a 90s thing? I'm starting to like have
It
these
has
weird
to be like
wait, maybe I have seen this before.
It's got to be early 90s or like a late 80s thing. But yeah, it's nice and light and sounds pretty good. And just the idea of like, oh, we'll make another flip top, but it's going to be this weird solid state thing that probably no one is going to want.
Bassists won't know. They won't know the difference. We'll just make it solid state. No one will be able to tell. It'll be a mystery. So you mentioned you like to get like, you kind of liked collecting, especially in the early days, like more like affordable, easier to find oddball things. And I'm really into that too. As such, I have kind of an affinity for some of the early 90s DoD pedals. Do you have any of those?
Oh yeah. I have most of them from that era, like the Buzzbox, Meatbox. Meatbox I got for $25. Like,
Score.
I was super into buying DoD stuff like people would just laugh at me at some of the stores. They're like, "You really want this Thrashmaster or whatever?" This was in the 90s when everybody just wanted, old electro harmonic stuff or whatever. But yeah, there'd be a couple shops that just had buckets with random pedals in it. A lot of it was DoD stuff, and they'd be like $25 or whatever, and I'd buy, whichever ones I could afford at the time. But yeah, I have a lot of I guess they're the Lamb series. Yeah, those are all awesome. I love do you know the stereo reverb DoD? The like
I
magenta
don't.
colored one?
No,
That
I
one
don't.
is really cool. It's just it's kind of like a bad, like, it's more like a really just like a short delay and not really a reverb, but
Okay.
it sounds awesome. I love running drums through it because you get kind of like, I don't know, this kind of weird like Joy Division-y kind of affected thing with it. Or like the Beach Boys song "Do It Again." It has that drum intro, and you could totally get that sound with the DoD stereo reverb.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never seen that one in the wild. Like when I first started getting really into pedals, I was kind of like you. It was like, oh, here's this bucket of. I mean, I can get like 3 of these for $40. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like this is fantastic. But yeah, the one that I felt and I still really really love is the FX96, the analog delay. I think that thing is so
like,
good.
the purple tape looking one.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
that one is awesome.
It's kind of an unsung hero. Like it's got the same chips and stuff as the more sought after like the DM2s and things like that. It's got that same stuff in it, but you can usually pick it up for like $60 or $70. Like it's starting to, their prices have really come up on them. Now they're like $70 instead of $40. But it's people are starting to get hip to some of that stuff.
I know. I've noticed a lot of DoD prices going up just kind of across the board, which is a bummer. But, it eventually happens to everything these days, I feel like.
Nothing stays secret anymore. It's,
yeah, that's...
in the age of the internet, there's morons like me talking about. I'm always posting the DE7 on Instagram, and people are like, "Shh, stop posting the DE7." Shh. I'm like, but I love it, and you all deserve to know.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's a weird thing. So let's see. Let's dive back in and see if anybody's had a chance to respond in the old Facebook group here. So we got Tom Kelly. He's a big supporter, so thanks, Tom. He wants to know, what was it like to be on the Orion Festival, because that is how he discovered you guys.
Oh, crazy. That was awesome. Like, the day that we got asked to do that was just insane, because so we got the offer to play Orion Festival, and we also got asked to do some Green Day thing. I can't remember if it was, I think it was to play Billy Joe's birthday party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Which we did. We were like his surprise birthday present from his wife, because I guess he liked Best Coast. So they rented out this bar, and we just set up on the floor and played a set for him and got to meet him. And he was super stoked and like blown away that his wife did that. And the funny thing is that Lars and Kirk from Metallica were there too.
Oh, wow.
And there's a picture of me with my back to Kirk Hammett, because once I realized he was watching me play guitar, I couldn't look in that direction. Like, it would have tripped me out too hard. But they were super nice, and Lars especially. Like, I told him after our set, I was like, "Oh, we're playing your festival. Like, I'm so stoked, but I'm like nervous, And he's like, "Why are you nervous? Like, we're just a bunch of old drunk dudes. Like, it'll be fine." It's like, okay.
Yeah, but you're
But
Metallica though.
I
That's
know.
yeah. Old drunk
Yeah.
dudes
So,
or not, you're still Metallica.
yeah. But that's like to this day one of the best festival experiences I've ever had. They treated everyone so well. Everything was run really great. I got to meet the guys in Torch there, and Matt from Landmine Marathon, and it was crazy because Ghosts. We got to play on Metallica's main stage. So Ghosts was before us, and then it was us, then Eric Church, and then Metallica. So, we played on the stage where like they had the big like walkway or like snake pit. I think they were still doing that. I don't remember. But yeah, it's just crazy because growing up Metallica was like one of my favorite bands, and Cliff Burton is still one of my favorite bass players. And the first night of the fest, they played Ride the Lightning in its entirety.
Wow.
Which was killer because I think it was only the second time they ever played the song Escape, which I actually like that song. I know they don't like it. They're like, we're only playing this because we have to. But I think every song on that record is great.
Yeah,
but
a
yeah,
great album.
Orion was awesome. We got to see Lars's dad, who we're obsessed with because of Some Kind of Monster.
Right.
Like in the studio, we're constantly saying delete it. After like that's our go-to if we're like
not so
this
good.
maybe is not so good. I would delete
it.
that.
Yeah, delete that. Delete it.
Yeah.
Is it no, this is kind of a weird thing. So I don't really go to festivals, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I did. I was a Warped Tour kid, so of course I was at that as much as possible back in the day. But I don't really do the festival thing anymore. But what I've noticed is that, and you can probably speak to this a little better than I can, that festivals used to be more like, okay, this is the metal festival, and this is the power pop festival, or this is the punk rock thing or whatever. And now it seems like everything's just all together. Like it doesn't really matter anymore. And it struck me as weird. And I found, I can't remember what festival it was, but I found what I considered to be an extremely strange lineup. And I posted the poster in the group. I was like, I don't think any of these fans are going to get along. And everyone's like, dude, that's just how it is now. And I guess I'm not paying attention. That is how it is now. Have you noticed a change like that, or am I kind of imagining things?
No, definitely. And beyond that, it's like a lot of festivals. Now it's almost like a tour where, whatever festivals in which state, the lineup from one just kind of gravitates and moves on to this next festival. And so, yeah, they feel a lot less unique now and less like curated,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bummer. I'd rather have smaller fests that have like a distinct vision than just these like, here's a little bit of everything, which is not that interesting. I mean, if you're going to be out somewhere all day and night, like you would hope that, it's a whole day of just rad stuff you want to see. Like I went to the Cure's One Day Festival out here, and that was incredible because there were no competing stages. Every band was great. The Cure picked all the bands. And
Oh, yeah.
so it's like Deftones, Pixies, Chelsea Wolfe, Emma Ruth Rundle, Mogwai.
That's a fantastic lineup.
Yeah. Every band was good. The sound was amazing. The vibe was really chill. Like, and I don't go to festivals a lot either. Like only if we're playing them or if I'm working or something.
Mm-hmm.
But something like that, I would consider going to if they did it again, even if I wasn't actually doing something at the festival.
Yeah, that's just more attractive to me. I don't necessarily just want to go see like I don't want to necessarily pay to go to a festival all day to see a band and a half that I might be interested in. That's why it always struck me as odd, because growing up with Warped Tour and Ozfest and those things when I was a teenager, it was like, oh yeah, there's like 10 bands I want to see at this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be awesome. And I'm not trying to knock like anybody's thing. It's just people are into different stuff, and I would think that those would make more sense, putting my marketing hat on. They're always like, try to niche down. And it seems like festivals are the opposite of niching down these days. It's kind of a trip.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be more band curated things like that. I feel like it's going to shift eventually, because it seems like even this way they've been doing it, aside, there's a lot of festivals that aren't happening anymore because it's like saturated. So you do have to carve out like your own unique spot right now, I think, if you want to do something successful in that realm.
What would the Best Coast Festival look like? In a dream scenario, if you could just pick people. Which I guess is a way of me asking what are your favorite bands or artists?
Let's see. It'd be like a lot of our friends bands, probably like Nothing and Wilco. I'd want them to play Fiona Apple. I don't know. I feel like our festival would be kind of diverse, because me and Beth, there's a lot of things we both like, and then things that each of us likes that the other is not really into. Because I definitely want, some heavier bands to play too. But also I love like, poppy indie rock bands. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a lot to think about.
I know. I just dropped a whole thing on you. Like, just tell me all the answers. Tell me all the answers. I want to know. Well, who are some of your favorite heavy bands?
I love Nothing. I mean, there's a lot of heavy bands I like, or they're that just don't play shows, so I wouldn't be able to, like Leviathan or Zaster. Well, Zaster's like acoustic now, but the old Zaster stuff I really love. And Deftones are amazing still. I love Quicksand.
Yeah.
I probably saw every Los Angeles Quicksand show during their entire first run before they broke. I was at the show where they broke up, which was crazy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they broke up at a show.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a dramatic thing. It was just like Walter walked on stage. Like, I think it was the beginning of their set, and he was just like, this is our last show. And then they played, and that was it.
Wow. That's so crazy. It's so crazy to think about that stuff. It's just like, you know what? We're done. We're done. Like, wow. Okay.
No press release or anything. Like, we're just telling you guys, and people will find out, I guess, after this.
So one thing I guess we could get into, like, we've talked about, like, I've been trying to get you, like, to get me some of your favorites, but like, what about influences? Who influences your playing? Because I know for me, my favorite bands, it definitely influenced me, but actually the way I play is more akin to something that I don't even listen to, which is kind of strange. But
like,
how about you?
Well,
for me, I listen to a lot of heavy, not just exclusively heavier stuff, but I like a lot of heavy music, and that's just been where my head has been for the last year and a half for whatever reason. But when I'm playing, it's always like shoegaze, basically. Like, it's like synthy, shoegazy, weirdo, spaced out stuff, and that just comes from my obsession with effects pedals, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not, but like, that's not what I do listen to that stuff sometimes, but when I put on something, I just like, well, I just had Scott Middleton from the band Cancer Bats on. They're one of my favorite bands ever, so like, that's a good example. I'll listen to something like that when I get in the car or when I'm going somewhere. That's what gets me fired up and excited. A lot of times.
For me, when I'm playing at home, it's definitely not usually anything like Best Coast. Like I think because being into pedals and being into synthesizers, like that's mostly if I'm gonna jam out at home, just to play, I'll do things with those and not so much guitar stuff. But influence wise, uh, Beach Boys, Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham's like one of my favorite guitar players, and I'm always referencing him when we're working on Best Coast stuff. Just
That totally makes sense.
All the just so I mean, besides what he plays, it's like where he places things. You know, he's never trying to compete with the vocal. He's always just kind of accompanying, and he'll do, you know, when it's time to solo, he'll do stuff, or he'll throw in little runs in breaks when he can. But yeah, just his approach and also his tone is amazing too. And, you know, his use of effects and stuff has been really inspirational. John Bryan is also a huge influence. I used to go see him play every week when he was doing that. And yeah, just his use of effects and just like how great of a player he is. And you know, he can do anything pretty much on any instrument. Like he's a for real genius. And then the band Sparkle Horse is always like a reference thing for me, and a band I still listen to a lot. Just like the production, like all the cool, like blown out guitar sounds on those records that are just whatever, like plugging into an old reel to reel. And Lindsey Buckingham would do that too, and just cranking it, and there's your distortion. Or playing through crappy amps and speakers to get a cool sound. And what else? Early Queens of the Stone Age. Like I really, really love the first Queens of the Stone Age record. I think all the
who
fuzz.
doesn't?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's like always like rated R, songs for the deaf, but I think the first one to me is the most interesting one. And just like, I love the songs and all those guitar tones on there, and the style of drumming on it are things I think about a lot. Yeah.
When I listen to them, I inadvertently like always end up going back to like older like Kaya stuff. Like it's I don't know why. It's like I love Queens of the Stone Age, and then I'm like, but you know what I really want to listen to right now? And I just slide on over, which I guess is probably a product of this digital age that we're living in. I guess that wouldn't happen if I was constantly slapping vinyls on, which I guess I'm doing that too, but not as regularly as cranking the tunes in the car, you know, so to speak. But you know what? I feel like we've hit the point in the show where it's perfectly fine. We've got enough music and gear talk in, and we're closing in on the last few of the show, and we haven't even really talked about food. So since that is another subject that's near and dear to my heart and many of the listeners' hearts as well, you say you like to cook. What are your favorite things to cook? What do you like to cook?
Let's see. So usually what I'll do is I'll just like kind of meal prep. So lately there was this I think it was on basically the sub like Bon Appetit site, and they had a recipe for these like fish tacos if you're having a group of people over, how to make those. Okay. But I don't really like fish, so I adapted it to chicken, and I had to stop myself from making it because I didn't want to burn myself out on it, because I was just eating that like nonstop. So you're basically making almost like a pesto, but it's with cilantro instead of basil, and there's no nuts in it. But it's like a lot of lime, a lot of cilantro, and you just I'll bake the chicken. You put it on the chicken before you bake it, and then you have some of the sauce for later. And you also there's a recipe to make a pico de gallo in that same cilantro base. like pesto-y thing you make is also the base for the pico, and it's like the best pico de gallo. And yeah, so I'll just make 2 sheets of that and eat that for like a week and a half. And then I like making a lot of just like simple salads. Like my Instagram is all like eating crazy burgers and like potato chips and stuff. But when I'm at home, I try and balance it out and eat really, really clean and healthy. So there's a lot
I
of
try
raw
to do the same
veggie
thing.
things.
Nobody wants a picture of a salad though. Like no one
Exactly.
cares.
Yeah, yeah. It's not exciting. But so yeah, just really simple things. I love arugula, so that's my go-to is like arugula with there's this pear vinegar that is
Ooh,
really good. So I'll put that on the arugula, shave some Parmesan on there, and then throw in some tomatoes or whatever. Like, I make that a lot. Or just like a Middle Eastern, like cucumber kind of salad thing. But I don't know. I try and change it up a lot. Like there was a phase where I was just making a lot of Japanese influenced stuff.
mm-hmm.
Um, like yakitori and mushroom salad. Um, and yeah, or sometimes I'll just make a bunch of Italian stuff. It's just like, uh, I don't know. Sometimes it's influenced by like what I watch a lot of like cooking videos. So if I see a recipe, even if I don't want to make that exact thing, it'll kind of influence like what I'm going to make for the week sometimes.
Gotcha. You watch a lot of cooking shows, or you just kind of browse around, you find something on Instagram and start doing some research?
Oh no, I watch Binging with Babish. I love that. I love a lot of the BA Test Kitchen videos.
Yes.
And then on the other side of that, there's a channel called The Wolf Pit where this guy, he does some cooking, but he mostly tries things you buy at Dollar Tree.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm really into that. Like like dollar like ribeye steaks.
They have
Which
those?
yeah, they look
My Dollar Tree does not have steaks. My local dollar store does
yeah. I
definitely
mean,
not have steaks.
I feel like
I don't even know if they have a refrigerator.
steak should definitely be with quotations around it because it just looks like thinly shaved like a piece of beef with a bunch of fillers in it, a bunch of water and
A bunch of
stuff
water and
added.
corn.
Yeah.
Just kind of glued together.
Yeah. What is it? Textured vegetable proteins.
Oh,
TVP.
ooh, that
Yeah.
doesn't sound. Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that term. That's a bad term. That's just a bad. That's a bad phrase. Ooh,
Yeah. And before he eats this stuff, he goes over the ingredients and he kind of gauges his expectations around what's in it. So yeah, his channel is crazy.
that hurt my insides just to hear. I don't know, but I will be watching some of those videos later today.
Yeah,
So thanks
check
for
him
that.
out. It's Wolf with a E.
Wolf with a E. All right.
Yeah. I've been into the burger show, the First We Feast one.
Mm-hmm.
That one's really good.
So I feel like I would be in trouble if I didn't ask you though a little bit about, you do post a lot of chips and burgers. So what are like right now, what's your favorite burger? What are your favorite chips?
For burgers, my go-tos that I love are Tommy's, which is like a stand out here. It's a chain, and they specialize in chili burgers.
Mm.
And it's really thin patty. This kind of like beanless chili that's really good. I love Grill 'Em All, which is the metal themed burger place out here.
I love that.
They do a burger of the month, which I usually try and get, which is always something crazy. But yeah, Grill 'Em All is really good. The whatever blend of meat they're using down there is just so good. Like even if you just get, a non-crazy burger, it's still awesome. I love Oinkster. That's another place in my neighborhood. We got to do a burger collaboration with them when our last record came out, and that was like
Oh,
a career high point.
the
And they
worlds
brought
are
it back
colliding.
last year. Yeah. So yeah, we did a Best Coast Burger of the Month with them, which was kind of like if you've ever had like Asian pepper steak, it was like those kind of
Yes.
flavors. So like mushrooms with soy sauce and peppers and chilies on a burger, and I forget what cheese was on it, but it did really well. People really liked it, which made me happy. And then if I really want to go nuts, I'll go to Gus's Barbecue, and they have a burn ends burger. So it's pretzel roll with the burger, some burn ends, and then a cheese sauce and jalapenos. And it's magnificent.
I know you can't
But
see me right now, but that's good because I'm drooling all over the place. That sounds so good. Oh, and it's
yeah.
lunchtime, so I'm extra fired up right now. Wow.
Yeah,
Yum.
that one is one of the I think that's one of the best burgers around.
That sounds phenomenal. All right, to bring it back to gear for just a little bit, just
All right.
just for a minute, I promise. I got to ask you. I got a couple classic questions that I asked to round out the podcast, and we're about at that time. So,
Okay.
what is your favorite Boss pedal?
Oh man. This is tough.
I know it's a difficult one.
For a long time it would be the PS3, like hands down. That pedal just does so much cool stuff. That was like the first delay I had where I found out if you're moving the rate, you can get like cool glitchy effects. And then it does all the cool pitch shifting stuff. And but right now, I love the Digital Dimension chorus. That's like my favorite sounding chorus right now. That's on my board. I don't know if it'll stay on there now that I'm using the Boss Switcher thing, but it's either that or I got really into the Digital Metalizer pedal.
I never played that thing.
Oh, it's awesome. You get built-in chorus and delay and metal distortion.
Is it digital? This distortion section is digital,
I don't.
or just the mod
I
section?
think the modulation is the digital part.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
yeah, it
always
was
threw
funny.
me off.
When we were making this record, our producer Carlos de la Garza, he was like, I thought when I found out we were doing this record together, like I'd be turned on to all these boutique pedals, but actually the ones he ended up buying the Digital Metalizer after we used it. And I also was big on the the DoD hard rock distortion, which is the distortion with the built-in analog delay. Love that one. Now I need the turbo, which is the digital and distortion DoD pedal.
Yeah, the turbo is cool. I've never played that other one. That's I didn't know that had an analog delay in it. Now I'm
it's rad.
gotta get the reverb.
Those, those ones are still affordable.
All right, let's see. The last question. Are you ready?
Yep.
This is sort of related, but this is the one that people get real dicey about. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh, deep dish.
Oh, don't hear that too often. Deep dish, Chicago style. I know.
Love it. Yeah.
What do you have to say to the people who say that that's not technically pizza?
They got too much time on their hands if they're worried about what
they need to get out more often
and what is not. I love them both. Like, the people always have to make it like this. No, it's this or that. It's like, I love New York slices. I love, whatever, any crappy delivery pizza. Like, pizza is just so good across the board, I feel like. But deep dish is my favorite.
Do you have a particular restaurant? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Zachary's Deep Dish Pizza in Oakland, California is the best. It's even more than any of the Chicago ones I've had. That one to me is the ultimate. There's just something about the dough and the tomatoes they use are just the way they're seasoned is so good. So yeah, Zachary's Deep Dish Pizza is my favorite.
Sweet. Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and hang out and be a nerd with me, because otherwise I have no one to be a nerd with. I'm here by myself in this space. This was great. Really, it was really a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Where would you like people to go to find you, to find any information? This is your opportunity to plug away whatever you would like.
You can find me on Instagram, Bob Brujo, or just search by my name. You'll find me. And it's a Best Coast website. bestcoast.us, I think it is. I don't know. I never go on it, but I think that's what it is. But yeah, mostly Instagram is where you can see me post gear pics and food pics. That's pretty much all it is. There's maybe
sounds like my feed.
One selfie maybe is on there. Everything else is cool records.
Well, I can tell you it's not bestcoast.us.
Thanks for looking that up.
To get to it.
I think it was.
I was like, let's check this.
It was briefly. I don't know what it is now.
I have to find it now. Now I'm curious. Yeah. I'm furiously Googling. My thumbs are just going. It's just going. What is the website? It's bestcoast.net. There we go. Bestcoast.net. Found it.
So yeah,
right.
you can.
I was like, great. Everyone's gonna look for that, and it's not gonna be there.
Yeah, there you go. Bestcoast.net. You can, all our tour stuff, merch, whatever is up there.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Bob. And you, sir, are welcome back anytime, whenever you feel like it. It'd be great. It'd be great to do it in person if we could. If you're ever coming through Portland.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll be there next month, early December. I'll be guitar teching for nothing, so I'll be there then.
Cool. Well, we'll try to fist bump.
And if not, Best Coast in March, we'll be there.
All right, sounds good, man.
Cool.
All right, everybody. For Bob, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones.
Bye.
All right, there you go. Another episode in the can, wrapped up, put a bow on it, put a fork in it, whatever else you want to say. That's what we're doing. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and guess what? If you need more, if you'd like to help keep the show going, if you'd like to help support the show, there's more on Patreon and more with me and Bob. That's right, he stuck around and hung out with us. Hung out with me, I guess. Me and the Patreon folks. He hung out with them for a little while, and it's all over there. So for just $5 a month, you get extra episodes in your ears weekly. Oh yeah, we're bringing fresh extra content to all the Patreon subscribers. Plus, if you go over there now, there's like over 60 episodes already there waiting for you. So if you're a binger, that's a perfect opportunity for you to get more content in your ears. Some of it's more interviews. Some of it is me and my good friend Justin Porter talking about whatever kind of gear nonsense comes up, like gear news and things like that. And then occasionally I'll throw in a demo of some sort, just an audio-only demo, so you can really focus in on hear whatever piece of gear I'm trying to show you really sounds like. So yeah, that's that. Definitely please review this on iTunes. I know all that stuff is annoying to hear all the time, but it really, really does help. And the most important thing you could do out of all of this is share it with a friend. If you could share this episode with one friend and just get it out there, because the more people that are listening, I quite literally get paid by the download now. So the more people that can help out and just download that episode, the better it's going to be for everyone involved. So thank you very much, and talk to you next week. Bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here, I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.